Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be playing The Great War Western Front. This is a game which comes out today on Steam. It's fully released, and we've been live streaming on my Twitch channel over the last couple of days. In today's video, we're going to be picking up where we left off following a disastrous defeat at the hands of French waves of troops at Colmar. We have made some success on the Western Front. We've taken Arras up in the north against the British, but we have dealt with some large French counterattacks in the southeast, and supplies and gold are beginning to become a concern. Now, with that being said, before we jump in, I do want to say this video is sponsored. I was given a watch. It's a World War I watch by a company called Vario, and it seemed like a relevant ad. So there's going to be about a 2-minute advert infomercial here. If you want to check it out, it's a pretty cool looking watch that's an homage to World War I that we'll take a look at, and then we'll jump back into the game. Links in the description if you want to jump ahead. Today's video is sponsored by Vario, a micro-brand watch company out of Singapore. They were kind enough to reach out to me and ask if I was interested in trying out one of their products, and they sent me a 1918 field watch, 1918 World War I field watch. So basically, these are watches that are a design influence, if you will, looking back to wristwatches in World War I. Before World War I, wristwatches were not terribly popular on men. You tended to look at more pocket watches. Being a soldier in the trenches, a pocket watch is not going to make a lot of sense when you've got all your gear on. And so you started to see officers and whatnot begin to adopt field watches that they wore on their wrist. And that's what you're looking at here today. Is this is a 1918 inspired trench watch. Obviously, it's a new watch, newly manufactured. Vario is a husband and wife team out of Singapore. And they make a lot of sort of homage watches, and it's pretty cool. They sent me one to try out and kind of to use, and asked if I wanted to talk about it on this video. And so I decided, hey, why not? I'm a little bit into watches. My dad passed a watch down to me, and in recent years, I've kind of gotten into them. And I think Vario is reasonably priced. They're kind of in the entry level point to automatic watches being non-battery powered, so essentially they're powered by the movement of your hand with some gears and rotors and whatnot behind the watch in the insides. And it's just kind of a cool little thing, you know. We're playing a World War I game. Why not talk a little bit about a watch that is loosely inspired by World War I? Obviously, they sent me the gray dial with the blue strap. That was by my request. Probably not something you would have seen in the trenches in World War I. They probably would look more like some of the brown, you know, kind of more earthy tone watches. The 1918 trench watch has a sapphire crystal with some anti-reflective on it. It also has a automatic movement. It's a Miyota movement made in Japan, and it's a pretty solid looking design. This is the 37 millimeter that they sent me. They also have a 40 millimeter, and if you're interested, recommend checking them out. But without further ado, let's get back to the video. So many conscripts. Oh yeah, Lenin and Stalin also come to power because of the Allies. Well, that was more directly the Germans' fault, but the Allies' fault. Oh no. Oh, that's like horror music. Great loss. The Battle of Colmar. All right, so Colmar loses 1 star, loses one of its stars and drops to a 1, which means one more defeat there, and that territory will fall to the enemy. But we get 400 extra gold because we defeated 10 French infantry companies. So that's good, I guess. We'll see if the Allies attack at Colmar again. They do. All right, guys, I'm going to trust the game. The game says a stalemate is likely. I don't want that to happen again. So let's see what happens with Otto. Stalemate! Yay! The computer is better than me. No change in the status quo. Will we see tanks in this game? Well, tanks do exist in the game, but we haven't researched them yet. I lost an air corps. Did I? Recruitment in action. Recruitment at home is continuing to support the war effort. New infantry corps are now arriving at our staging grounds. 4 German infantry corps and 2 conscript corps. I mean, it's 1914, so we got a ways to go before tanks. Plus now we get the 1,200 gold instead of 1,000 because of that research that we focused on. Did we lose the air corps at Colmar? We did. Not that it was doing anything. You got the crap kicked in because your arty fields of fire to bomb the enemy. So the fields of fire were partially responsible, but it was also the lack of visibility where I couldn't see the enemy until they were on top of me. And then once they were on top of me, to your point, I didn't have the fields of fire to fire within my lines. All right. So back at HQ, we've got 1 more fighter unit, 2 conscript corps, 2 elite corps, 2 regular corps. We're going to send 2 regular corps to reinforce Colmar. Hopefully that's enough. So that'll be 2 regular corps plus 2 conscript corps. Hopefully the regulars fight better. Heavy rain. Our trenches are constantly barraged by heavy field artillery, which destroys morale as well as lives. Destroy the enemy heavy artillery and show our men that our lives matter. Their lives matter. Defeat 3 heavy artillery companies. 600 supply is no joke. Ooh. So the British appear to have moved some of their headquarters away from Braille-la-Bussière. Does anybody know, does supply matter? Like if you surround a hex, will it die? Le Bussy. Also, the French have redeployed some of their troops at Villers further south. Which makes me think we might be able to take this hex in a turn or 2. The north flank is in shambles. Is it though? For us or who? For the British? We took Arras, which is the reason the flank is in very confused shape. And then we attacked Ypres last turn. Also, with our 1 research point, I don't know that I have anything I can spend it on that I want. Like, we could go with the landing strip, which unlocks the airfield level 1 structure, increases the supply granted by air wings by 20, reduces the cost to replenish surviving aircraft, but like, whatever, I don't care about that. Bombers. I need frickin' recon. We could do the intel. Region espionage missions could be useful, maybe? But I'm inclined to wait. Let's undo. What does this do? Volunteers. Immediately grants 2 new infantry corps on researching this node. The Allies will receive 1 British, 1 French. The Germans will receive 2. I don't really need troops that badly yet. I would like to go with the gas. So engineering seems like maybe not a bad idea. Ooh, tanks, tanks, tanks. Tonka. Yep, they have barbed wire in the game. They also have razor wire. So you've got wire defenses, which unlocks barbed wire. You've got cheap wire production, which reduces the purchase cost of barbed wire. And then you've got wire blades, which unlocks razor wire. We do have balloons already. Under air wing, would they make them cheaper? Reduces the supply cost of balloons by 20%. Yes. Okay, that's definitely what I want. -10 national will. Food rationing. In an effort to conserve resources, Germany issues every citizen and neutral foreign national in its borders a bread ration card. These cards limited the amount of bread anyone could purchase. Ooh. So we had a couple of victories which bumped our national will score up a bit, but they've been hurting lately. All right, this is actually where we left off with this live stream, so I'm going to go ahead and just sort of jump ahead a little bit. There's about like a 2-minute extra, if you will, and then we'll jump ahead to the start of the next stream, which was actually last night for the Great War Western Front. Today, in our last battle, we got absolutely rolled at Colmar. The French deployed 8 corps there, and we had 2 on the defensive, and our corps were conscripts, so we were heavily outclassed, understandably so. One of the things I think you do need to pay attention to in this game is where are the enemy stacks. The enemy does move their troops along the front line quite a bit, if you will, and so it tends to look for opportunities where you do not have enough troops and attacks those opportunities. And so, for example, Chateau Thierry, they've got 8 corps here. We only have 2 corps across the way at Rethel, and so they'd have a 4-to-1 advantage in terms of attacking. Plus, if they wanted to attack there twice, Châtillon-sur-Marne is also adjacent there with 8 corps as well. The AI is probably less likely to attack Vorzeurs or Leon, both of which it would have advantages against, but not quite as considerable. So to that extent, let's go ahead and reinforce Rethal just to make sure that the enemy doesn't you know, get too ahead of itself, if you will. I don't want to use my elite corps there, so I think we'll just send 2 conscript corps to Rethal to reinforce it against possible French attacks. They'd still outnumber me 2-to-1, but it would give me more of a fighting chance, if you will. And then we're also going to spend 600 gold in order to build a depot here. Again, just in the event that they attack, it'll give us a better chance of defending with supplies. For some strange reason, the AI doesn't like to keep the forces grouped together, so it looks like there's British troops here and French here. When I play, I will only ever keep my British and French troops apart, as they were historically. Now, we did fight a battle at Saint-Meinhold a while back, and it did not go well. But I would, you know, I'd like to try and move the front line here. This is not an easy game to do that. We have had some success taking Arras early, but I would like to see, like, is there something we can do to keep moving the front back and see what we can do to perhaps gain an advantage. To that extent, I think what we probably want to do is we probably want to try and isolate the northern portion of the line here and see if we can defeat the BEF, perhaps take Calais, and that, I mean, frankly, that in of itself in World War I might have ended the war. It does look like, oh my goodness, I knew it a few days ago and now I'm blanking on the pronunciation again. Ypres? Is that it? Well, let's just call it Wipers. We've reduced its fortification level by 1. They only have 1 corps defending there. But if I take this, all it really does is push us to Dunkirk and Hazebrook. It doesn't like cut anybody off or do anything along those lines. So perhaps we want to make some additional moves to isolate some enemy troops. I don't really have a lot of salients where there might be considerable enemy troops that we could surround. Nancy is a little bit vulnerable by the looks of it. Bar-le-Duc is a little bit vulnerable. Saint-Meinhold, kind of. They've got 2 corps there, 1 corps here. Not entirely sure. What? Okay, Charcoal. I don't know how to respond to that. Additionally, like, we could try and push on Paris. I've seen people comment like, you can't win, you can't get to Paris. The enemy will surrender before you ever get there, which, you know, I'm always one for a challenge, but to take Soissons, it would take 4 attacks. That probably won't happen. We'd probably not want to push on a 1 hex front. So I don't know. Where should we attack? Broy looks vulnerable to me. The only problem is if we take Broy, then we're really on a very extended salient. So while I would like to turn north, I think we probably need to take Villers first to extend this to a 2. So then we're not like on a 2 front salient, if you will, like a 2 hex salient. That's kind of my thought. So I think the first thing we need to do is attack from out of Peronne to Villers. And we'd have a huge advantage here too. The enemy only has 1 core, so although it still feels like we're going the wrong direction. Like this is the direction we want to go. Ah, screw it. Let's just attack out of Arras. It'll be 1 French core, I believe. No, 1 Canadian core versus a lot of German cores. It actually assumes if we auto resolve, we'll get a great victory, which I'm tempted to auto resolve because when you auto resolve, for whatever reason, the AI uses way less supply than you do when you fight. So I guess we're going to auto resolve then, just because of that. And there you go. A big victory for us. 200 supply spent. Not nearly as much as if I had played. Replacement cost only 60 gold, so much less than if I had played. The auto resolve seemed cheap in terms of their results. 7 national will bonus for us, -22 for the enemy. And we immediately reduce Broy by 1 star down to a 1. Okay. Push, push, push.
Warten auf Befehle.
All right, so we've got this down by 1. We're also going to do an attack out of Peronne to Villers, and we're going to auto-resolve that as well. Another great victory for us. Another -22 national morale for the enemy, +7 for us. And we reduced it by 1. We could also attack from Nyon into that direction as well. But I think we'll hold off there. I do want to maintain some level of supply at the strategic map. Also, we do have some additional reserves which we can move to the front. So let's get 1 regular infantry corps. We've already reinforced Colmar to some extent. But if it does get attacked again, it will if we lose the next battle, it'll fall. So we'll send 1 more there. That'll give me 5 cores against possibly 8. A much better likelihood of success. And then yeah, I'm going to try and save my supply for the next turn though, just because I don't have a lot of supply to keep pushing on multiple hexes all at once. So we achieved success this turn with auto-resolving 2 particular fights. Defeat 3 heavy artillery companies. Okay, so we get an additional supply if we defeat 3 enemy heavy artillery companies. But we're going to end the February turn and see what the AI does. So the AI took this turn off. They didn't attack. So I guess they decided, hey, the enemy's reinforced their front lines a lot, so let's not attack. They have sent a large force to Nancy, 6 cores there, so we probably want to reinforce both Morhang and Metz by at least a core. So go ahead and send 1 to each. Yeah, I'm a little torn on that. Like, I get the star system at certain times of the game, but I also feel like there should be... I feel like it would be interesting if they had like an R&D element where like when you go to the research tab, if you research certain techs, you could take out more than 1 star in a given turn. Especially once things like tanks become available. Historically, the fronts weren't anywhere near as static in late 1918 or early 1918 as they were early in the war. So I think that would be, you know, an interesting concept. Meanwhile, the enemy has thrown a considerable reserve into Broye. I'm assuming they saw, hey, shit, if we lose this hex, we lose, you know, we're 1 away from Calais. So they have reinforced very heavily here. They've got 6 corps. Our own attacking force is 6 corps. So that's not great. We do have 2 elite corps here, and we also have an aviation corps. Meanwhile, Iran also has a depot, so we get to pull in 400 from the depot supply. So that's a thing. We do have 1 R&D point that we could use. I'm trying to see if it makes sense to use it on anything here. We also did unlock the cheaper barrage balloons, so we'll probably use those this turn. Okay. We could get additional infantry units, but I think I'm going to hold off and save my R&D point this turn. What are these pop-ups here? Unread events. Women for peace. Several thousand plus 10 national morale. Where? For us, I guess? Oh no, for the allies. Oh, for both sides. Okay. Demoralize them, India. An army is only as strong as the will of its men. Defeat enough of them, and not only do their replacements hesitate on the battlefield, but their potential replacements hesitate to sign up. So defeat 2 Indian infantry companies, gain 400 gold. You'll also notice we got 1,200 gold this turn from the R&D we did on the economic side last time. So there's that. What if we attack here? That's a stalemate. All right, I think we're going to do it. We're going to try and attack from Arras to Broye. Just because, again, we're trying to get to Calais. And to do that, we've got to take this base. So let's fight it. And we'll engage this battle directly because the AI is not going to get a great victory. Frankly, we probably won't either, but we'll see. All right, so we've entered into spring, so no more snowstorms. Looks like weather's good. That'll help our visibility. I don't know why there's buildings destroyed. I guess there was an auto resolve for the last battle, so perhaps some of this stuff was destroyed then. Their headquarters or their command trench is top right. Objective B here is in the center of the map. Objective A off to the left. By the looks of it, they don't have a uniform trench across the front, so we might be able to flank them. Meanwhile, the AI certainly could make an attempt to overrun our own positions, so we will need to build up some defenses there. We're going to do the basic firing trench. You know, what'd be cool is if we do like the historical zigzag. I forget what it's called, where they go like this with their trenches. But that feels like it would just give us a salient. Well, I guess I don't have a choice, huh? Oh no! Undo that. Facing the wrong direction. Alright. We'll do that, like weird zigzaggy line right there. And we'll put another line behind it. So we're kind of doing like multiple lines here. And And I'm going to leave some gaps in these lines just because I want to make sure that we don't make it too easy for the enemy to break into our lines. Like before, I had been using command trenches and things like that. But I guess I'd frankly rather the enemy have to advance over open ground to get to me. All right, so I kind of like a more staggered defensive line, maybe? Not that I love the idea of having the enemy approach through cover in these trees. Let's see here. We still have quite a bit of supplies left. Where's the best place for our heavy artillery? Probably in the center of the map? Or maybe the top right? Like, where can they hit most of the enemy? I mean, I guess ideally in no man's land, right? So this would be able to hit out to this, past this wood line on the right. There's no enemy troops there, but it would allow us to hit all of B. Also just shy of A. Are there any trenches in front of A that would be able to be hit? Not quite. This is a different looking map, frankly. It's not quite as easy to build artillery that can hit everywhere. We could effectively hit most of their trenches if we put them here, but then they're in front of our second line, which is probably not ideal. We do just short of A, what can they hit? Yeah, I'm good with that. They can hit the front lines pretty much if I do that, right? I don't know that would rotating it make a difference? Not really. Like, we could put them in front of our front lines. This is probably the best location. I guess rotating it would allow me to defend my own line more effectively with it, perhaps. Especially if they end up attacking on our right flank. Although it won't defend anything behind us. So we'll put this guy here. We're going to do 2 heavy trenches. Or 2, maybe we'll do 3 heavy artillery batteries. We'll do 1 behind this second line. I didn't think I used any improved trenches, did I? How do you see that? How can you even tell? Oh, right here? These guys? Yeah, you're right. All right, that's a good call. That just saved me like 56 supply. Yeah, because it's got the dark white line in front and rear. All right, so we did 3 artillery pieces, right? Let's also do 1 light field piece. Which frankly is just not going to be able to reach out and touch much. But it'll help on B. And then we're going to do a balloon here. God, you've got to place your balloons like way out front to see anything. Like, what's the point of that? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with a balloon like way out ahead of everything? All right. Yeah, this is not an easy map. I've played some other maps that are easier. This is not an easy map to attack from. I guess at least having the balloon will tell me if the enemy troops are coming, right? So there's value in that. Thing is, the AI is probably going to have balloons and they're probably going to trash me, so at least give me like a snapshot of what's what, right? So this balloon will probably get obliterated, but at least it should give me some visibility into what's at B so I can target it. We're not going to do a ton of machine guns. It seems like the enemy just obliterates you with them. But I am going to put just a couple of batteries, maybe 2 or 3 machine guns. Specifically here on this corner of the map, because they usually go for flanks, so we'll put 1 on each flank. Maybe the AI will be as... The problem that we're going to run into is this B location is a tremendous forward position for the enemy. If they have any balloons around here, they're going to be able to see deep into our lines. So that's going to be a challenge. All right. Let's deploy some troops here. What do we all have too? We've got German infantry, conscript infantry, and elite infantry. Remember, we are nominally on the offensive here, but we're going to go with regular infantry, and I'm going to throw 1 in each trench line in the front rank because I've got a hunch the enemy's going to attack me. We can always shift troops around if they don't, but I've got a feeling they're going to launch an assault against me first. So we're going to put regular infantry in every hex up front. But we're not going to double them up. We're only going to put a single one there. And the logic is, I believe you can only have 1 unit firing at the firing step per trench, and the other unit's kind of like a reserve, which is useful if the enemy storms your trench. Like, it's useful to have a second one there for melee combat. But if you're trying to have firepower in that trench behind you, it makes sense to have the troops in the next line behind it. Right, and I'm also kind of wondering if maybe instead of regular troops, we'd be better off with elite troops, because everything's cheaper pre-battle. But that's everything. The funny error? What does that mean? No? All right, everything's placed except for like if we want to put more MGs or more artillery. Well, we can't do more artillery, but we could do more MGs. Although again, the AI generally targets them with their arty pretty heavily. I have 1 gun on the flank. I don't want to spend too much prestige because I'm assuming I'm going to be using heavy amounts for reinforcements. Or not prestige, but whatever the hell you want to call this. But there we go. You're talking about gas? It's supply, yeah. I don't know. I'm saying prestige probably because I'm used to it from a like Panzer General style game. All All right, what does the enemy have here? We can see their forward stuff. Do they have any balloons? Do we have any indication of balloons? Can we see the trucks that would have them? Maybe, but I don't think those are. There's artillery here, which is actually, that is incredibly useful to know. So you know what we're going to do? Hello, boys. Counter battery fire.
Wir haben unsere Ziele. Bereit für Feuerweite vorbereiten. Feuer! Ladet sie nach. Für Bereichsfeuerweite laden. Feuert auf diese Stellung.
All right, 3 heavy artillery batteries are gonna obliterate that enemy arty. Or at least try. Hey, we're destroying some buildings. Why are these troops not in the trench? All right, let's make sure they can't shoot their arty at me by suppressing them. We've destroyed at least some of their guns by the looks of it. No sign of the enemy dropping arty on me yet. We've got plenty of supply for our own artillery. Can these guys shoot yet? They can. No sign again of any AI attacks. Even though we are nominally on the offensive in this battle, that doesn't mean the AI won't launch a sort of their own attack. Did anybody see, did we get a pop-up saying we destroyed their battery? I don't think we did yet. We're also doing a little bit of damage to this 1 battalion of infantry here that's in the open. I think they're down to just the 1 gun as far as I can tell. Yeah, that arty's a little bit invincible. I don't really want to spend this much on them, but we'll do one more. There we go. That one's gone. So maybe there's one more gun on the right flank. We should get a pop-up if we destroy it. Did we lose some units here? Looks like the red is a little bit used up, although maybe that's the supply, representing we spent supply. I'm assuming that's dead. At the very least, its effectiveness is greatly reduced. So let's start using our arty on other things. Let's go ahead and hit this machine gun nest. We'll hit this machine gun nest. We're going to try and sort of systematically reduce their front. You can see we are working on some of their infantry a little bit. I think it takes about 2 heavy artillery battery sort of bombardments to get rid of a machine gun nest. We definitely destroyed some of them, although we used a lot of arty against theirs. It's interesting that the light artillery seems better against MGs than the heavy artillery. We just got one of their nests. All right, so we are going to begin preparing for an assault. So again, we only have a single layer of troops all across the front. So what we're going to do... Who do we want to bring? These elite troops here. We still don't have any indication of enemy balloons, right? Oh shit, there is one. Can we even hit them? I don't think so. Is this their vehicle here? If the enemy sees us coming, they will hit us hard. So we want to try and take out their balloons. The enemy, so the way that they explain this is the AI will remember where your troops are even if it loses its balloon. And so what you want to do is you want to move your units after the balloon is destroyed. They may remember where your batteries are, but they won't remember necessarily, you know, who's moving where or preparing for what attack or what have you there. So is there one over here too? No, just here. Right, we're moving our one elite unit here, and then I think we'll take these 2 units. I don't know like who I should all attack with. I don't want to weaken myself too much.
Wir haben neue Befehle. An die Linie. Wir haben neue Befehle. Feuerstellung einnehmen.
Okay. Did we get that balloon yet? Bastard. It's gotta be like right here, right? Wish I could shoot the damn balloon down, but I don't have that mission yet. Battles are hard. I don't know if they're hard coded, but they are. You are limited to 20 minutes in every battle. If that's what you mean by hard coded, guess. Yeah, we're already like a quarter of the way through. So. Yeah, 20 minutes seems like a little bit of pressure. They're gonna hit us with arty like mad, I'm sure. We'll see. And there comes the arty.
Wir haben neue Befehle. Kompanie, halt! Wir haben neue Befehle. Hier, halt machen!
This lead unit's gonna be like running between 2 bombardments. I'm stopping everybody else. Not that that's not gamey or anything, but like, hey, they're gonna drop arty on you, so you should probably not charge into it, right? And that's because we didn't destroy their damn balloon yet. All right, we got that other MG nest, so I don't think there's any other MGs here. We'll let the arty clear first. All right, so I think we're good here on the flank. So let's move forward. All right, so those barrages cleared. Shit, I didn't realize my commandos are like all the way ahead of everybody else.
Mannschaften bereit. Auf Feuerweite vorbereiten.
Wir haben neue Befehle. Stufe bereit machen.
All right, get up there, boys. Is there an MG? No, those guys are shooting out of the trenches at him. Shit, these guys are in the open dying. By the way, your elite troops are much better at hand-to-hand combat for what it's worth. All right, so yeah, this shooting at me a lot. Hit them with arties so they get suppressed somewhat. So we can get into that first line of trenches. You don't want to sit out in the open and die. Oh boy, move. Okay. Yeah, that RD piece is almost dead. Good. All right, we are attempting to overrun this position. All right, we're going to drop Artie in the comms trenches here to hit anybody who comes up against us. So we're hitting this trench line here, so if anybody tries to move toward us, they'll have to run through artillery to get to us. Alright, some of our troops are dying. Those comm trenches, by the way, always a good target because they are not as defended against artillery. Once you're in their trench line, by the way, things get a lot easier until they start dropping arty on you. So we have lost a fair amount of troops. Nothing crazy yet. Do you have a sense of World War I artillery dispersion looks like in the game? Or do you mean, I don't know what you mean, like in terms of historical or what? Okay, so they've got just the one battery left here. Oh, you're talking to a Vulcan. All right, so we've done that. Let's bring forward some reserves. I'm going to leave my whole front pretty empty here, but we can call in some reinforcements. So let's throw some conscripts in because they're cheap. So we get back up to 30. All right, we'll finish this battery of artillery off, I'm assuming with grenades from our troops up here. God. I really wish we had dugouts. Otherwise, I'm like shuffling troops back and forth between empty trenches. All right, we destroyed that light artillery piece. So they've got additional batteries. Oh, there's a balloon over here? Well, shit. We're going to get rid of that thing as soon as we can. Who's shooting up here? That's the AI. That was a weird decision. We're advancing through Arty. Are we winning this fight? I don't know. All right, go get that balloon. You go get this balloon. We have 9 minutes left. All right, we got that last front unit there. We did defeat 2 colonial companies, interestingly enough.
Warten auf Befehle. An die Linie.
All right, so we're going to take point B at the very least. Let's go ahead and get this enemy balloon.
Die weiße Fahne.
Got it.
Bereit machen. Feuerstellung.
Bombard that trench, whatever. We almost finished this other guy off with all that artillery that we fired at him. Let's call in 2 German elite companies.
Melde mich zum Dienst.
We also spotted an enemy artillery or enemy. My light artillery is going to be useless up here. Oh no, I can't reach there either. All right, so we secured a new point. We have 9 minutes left. I really need. Let's withdraw this unit.
Neue Befehle.
Withdrawn units don't like some. I don't know. It doesn't count against you in terms of casualties if you withdraw understrength units, and it allows you to bring in fresh units because it reduces your stack limit, if you will. So I'm not going to be able to use our arty against the next enemy line. Oh shit! Maybe don't just sit there. Against the next enemy line of. Oh shit! All right, whatever. Can't hit up there. All right, we got that MG nest. There's another one here that we spotted. All right, guys, I hate to do this to you. I know we're in the middle of a battle, but we've been going for almost an hour now, and there's still a decent amount left in this fight. I don't want to post like an hour-and-a-half long video. That's just, you know, at that point, I think you're better off to jumping over to Twitch. If you want to watch the whole thing in one sitting, you can. There's a link in the description to my Twitch channel where you can go check out the entire VOD. It's the most recent stream that was on the channel there. Otherwise, the next video we'll be posting in a couple of days here. We are going to take a couple of day break. We're going to be taking a look at Total Tank Generals tomorrow, and then we'll kind of move from there. But with that being said, guys, thanks again for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts below. Thanks again to the folks at Vario for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. I'm a little bit of a watch guy myself. I really enjoy watches. You know, my dad passed on an Omega to me, and so like I find them interesting. I find them fascinating, and reaching out to have kind of something that felt authentic and in line with what the channel was covering, a World War I homage watch. And I've been wearing it, you know, for a month plus now, and I've been really happy with it. If you are interested, there's a link in the description where you can check Vario out. They're also working on a World War II watch. But that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you guys next time. Thanks again.